OBS hit it out of the park with the engine RTA. Now they got the sub engine. Let's check it out. What's up, vape fam? It's Dave from Married to the Mod. Today we're going to be checking out this OBS Sub Engine Mini and the OBS Sub Engine. What these are the sub-ohm versions of the very popular Engine RTA that came out in 2016. That Engine RTA was voted by a lot of reviewers as the top RTA of the year, and I gotta agree with them because if you talk about the top airflow, the flavor, the juice capacity on it, the deck's easy to build on. You know, there's so many pros with that tank, it's not even funny. So, before we get into all the specs and all that, I just want to say thank you to Heaven Gifts for sending these over for the purpose of this review. It's not going to change my opinions on them. I'm going to tell you my honest opinion no matter what. You can pick them up at Heaven Gifts, and they're going for right around the $30 mark for the Mini or the regular sub-engine tank. I will throw a link in the description down below for you to grab them. So without any further ado, let's go ahead. I'll catch a vape here, and we'll drop down low, check these out. Alright guys, so here's the packaging for the OBS Sub Engine. Have a little scan code here. Now it's going to say Sub Engine here on the side. The only difference with the Mini on the box is it's going to say Sub Engine Mini. Everything else is the same. In the back here, just some specs about it. Looks like it's going to come in gold, stainless, or black. I do have the stainless version here. Have a little scratch and sniff code there. Inside the box you will find your tank, a spare glass, and a spare 0.2 ohm coil. There is also a 0.2 ohm coil installed. You're also going to get one bag with 2 clear O-rings. And your engine user manual here just kind of tells you some specs about it. Shows you that it has that top fill, how to put it together. Now, here is some specs on it. This is the regular size one. You're going to be 25 millimeters in diameter, 54.5 millimeters in height. It weighs 53 grams, and this holds 5.3 milliliters of e-liquid. With the Mini, it's going to say 23 millimeters in diameter. It's still going to be 54.5 millimeters in height, and it's going to be 3.5 milliliters in e-liquid. Alright, so looking at this sub-ohm tank, start at the top here. This is a 510 chuff style cap. Take it off, you can put any 510 drip tip in there. And this drip tip it comes with is the normal engine drip tip where it kind of fans out to fit the top of that nicely. Working down, you do have the top airflow here, and there is 3 airflow slots. They are really tight to turn, I will say that. But you are going to have 1, 2, and 3. And what you do on 1 will of course happen on all 3 of them. I've been using this tank with it wide open and it's been really nice. Now for the top fill, there is a little drip logo right there. You go ahead and open that up. That's going to show you that's where your juice is going to go in. And there is a lip up here to stop this from pulling right off. Plenty of room there to go ahead and dump your juice into. And as you work your way down, same style as the engine, you're going to have that logo on the inner chamber there. On the other side here it will say Sub Engine. Then on the bottom here, I would not use this on a hybrid. That does not protrude enough. Besides, it is a sub-ohm tank, and I just don't see any reason to use a sub-ohm tank on a hybrid mech mod. It does say designed by OBS. It says Sub Engine down here, and then your serial number is right under that. So to get to your coil, you're just going to unscrew the bottom. Your coil will come out. We'll look at that in a second. One little difference from the RTA. The RTA had 2 holes in here where your top airflow would come in, hit your coil, and then go up through the center. This here, you see that tube in there, that's actually going to go and sit down inside the middle of this diameter here, of the inner diameter of your coil. So your airflow is going to come in from the top, from the outside there, hit that coil, and then go back out through the middle, right into your mouth hole. Now this will all come apart. They do give you that spare glass. It is, I mean, it's on there tight, and I will tell you it's a pain to get apart because there's no stopper on this. This just kind of spins. So in order to get it off, you got to kind of, it's a bitch really, but if your glass breaks, you do have the ability to change it. Let's go ahead and take a look at these coils now. On the outside there, they'll say OBS 40 to 100 watts, 0.2 ohms. You do have 1, 2, 3, 4 holes for wicking, and then you have the engine logo on it there. Now you look at the diameter of this coil. It's 10 millimeters in diameter right here. Huge. Look in there, they are using the notch coil. Tons of cotton in this. It does wick very well up to the 90 watt point, I will say. To get your coil out, it's just going to simply unscrew from the base. And the base here, not much to it. I will tell you, really light. Doesn't even feel like you're holding anything. You can tell it's very, very thin. One thing I don't like about this base is it has this little ring on the outside of it, and you can feel it with your finger. And no matter what you screw it onto, it's going to leave a ring around it where it was. You know, when you unscrew it, it's going to take off the paint. If it's that rubberized type of finish, it'll take it off. No matter what, that ring is sharp there, and I wish they wouldn't have that extra ring that down there, but you can actually see it's, you know, sticking out there a little bit. Anyways, onto the bottom of this coil, there's your contact, and no airflow comes from the bottom of this. This sits flush on the bottom of that, you know, right to the base. So the airflow is going to come down, hit, you know, on the outside of that inner tube I showed you, hit this coil, and then right back up the middle of that tube. So one thing I wanted to note before we jump back up is when you put your coil in, obviously you're going to have that gold contact down. Screws in buttery smooth, right? Really nice threads right there. However, when you go ahead and you put this coil into this this tank, and one more thing, there is none of that, like in the RTA they had that little piece that would stick out here so it would catch your deck so that the airflow would hit directly. Obviously that's going to be gone because it doesn't matter where the airflow exactly hits. It's just going to hit all around the inside of that coil there. But when you're putting this on, these bottom threads, they're hard to catch. Like basically I've been going counterclockwise until I feel it click. And then once it clicks like that, then it'll screw in. And they're, you know, they're a little bit grindy there. You can kind of feel the teeth on them cutting up a little bit. So that's it. The OBS Sub Engine and the OBS Sub Engine Mini. I'll show you them next to each other here. Exact same size from top to bottom. Exactly the same. Only difference is going to be the diameter of them, as you can clearly see there. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump out and talk about some pros and cons where you can go ahead and get this. Alright guys, so that's the OBS Sub Engine Mini and Sub Engine Tank. What are your thoughts on them? You like them? What do you know, I personally, I've been enjoying these tanks. I do like my RTAs, and I think the RTA, in my opinion, has slightly better flavor. However, the ease of just throwing a coil in and going is very nice, and the flavor on these notch coils have been outstanding. The diameter on those 10mm diameter coils, absolutely huge. You know, I understand the reason that they had to do that, to kind of make for the airflow to come down, you know, kind of spread out, hit that coil, and then go back up that center tube. I think if there was some way to kind of incorporate that airflow coming down and hitting the coil directly, more direct, it would improve the flavor even more. Not to say the flavor's bad, but just little things I'm thinking about. I got a few pros, I got a few cons, so let's go ahead and dive into that. Then the pros, flavor, gotta be flavor. got to be a pro that this fill method here. I love the fill method. It's nice and easy. You just kind of lift it up, put your juice in, close it down real easy. And then the top airflow is another pro. You know, you can basically hold this thing upside down and it's not going to leak ever on you. You can leave it on its side. It won't leak. I haven't had any issues with either this or the RTA leaking. Those coils, I do wish, and I guess I'll put this as a con, that they would have put 40 to 90 watts. I think 100 watts is a little bit too much on these coils. And if you are chain vaping it, when you get to that 4th or 5th hit, you're going to get a little bit of a dry cotton note in there. And not necessarily a completely dried hit, but it is going to be a little bit dry. And then another big con for me is the threading on the bottom of this tank. It's got to be improved. It's a little bit janky on it, and you really got to fight with it to get it in there. Like I said, you know, turn it that counterclockwise way until it catches, and then go ahead and tighten it down. Other than that, no leaking issues, like I said. I do like the drip tip. They do have a cool drip tip out there that kind of funnels out that you can put on yourself that I have seen around. Kind of fits them perfectly. Other than that, heavengifts.com has got them. $30 for either the Mini or the Sub Engine. And, you know, I highly recommend them. If they weren't sent to me, would I have bought one? Yes, mainly because the RTA was a hit, and these coils here are working really well. I honestly thought when I opened up that Mini that I've been using for 3 days, that coil was going to look a lot worse than it did, and that coil looked damn near brand new. I've been vaping that thing a lot, and I kind of thought the flavor kind of dropped off a little bit. But at times, the flavor just ramps up. So it's got to be kind of when you're chain vaping it, even at 90 watts, maybe the flavor goes, you know. This may not be a really good chain vape type of tank. But when you do hit it that first time, after it's sitting there for a little bit, the flavor on it's phenomenal. Alright guys, I want to say thank you guys for watching. Please hit that subscribe button. I will have links to everything down below. And remember, vape together, stay together.